Home to one of the most inspiring races in the world, Russia, the land of the Soviets, is grand. Welcome to WatchZilla. Today we are going to give you our 11 best attractions in Russia. Russia, the largest country in the world, offers a broad array of travel experiences, from treks up the slopes of glacier-capped mountains to strolls along the shoreline of Earth's oldest lake. It is a place where all religions pray as one. Europe, Asia, and even America are around the corner and a world within a country. Historical sites and cultural activities in the country's great cities abound as well. With delightful accommodation and easy transportation, Russia can offer you the adventure of a lifetime. Whether you're exploring the grounds of Moscow's Kremlin or wandering through the steppes of Mongolia, a visit to Russia is an adventure not soon forgotten. Number 11. Hermitage Museum. Hermitage Museum in St. Petersburg is one of the largest and oldest museums in the world. Founded in 1764 by Catherine the Great, the Hermitage Museum is a museum dedicated to art and culture. Having its name among the prime landmarks of St. Petersburg and the top historical places to visit in Russia, the State Hermitage Museum flaunts mesmerizing artworks, rich historical collections, gorgeous ornate furniture, and beautiful sculptures. Including the largest collection of paintings in the world, there are more than 3 million artworks, items, and artifacts on display. The major attractions of this majestic museum are the very famous Winter Palace and the classy stairway entrance. The museum is a complex of 6 historic buildings. One of the most amazing displays of Russian culture, it makes for an enlightening visit. So, in no way you can leave out this resourceful museum from any list of top tourist attractions in Russia. Number 10. Peterhof. Peterhof might be home to a university and a major Russian watch manufacturer, but this relatively small city's call to fame is the Peterhof Place. Originally designed and built in the early 1700s for Tsar Peter the Great, in a style that resembles the Palace of Versailles, the palace grounds cover an area of almost 4,000 hectares. There are 173 garden fountains around the palace, some, like the Grand Cascade fountains, with special features that activate water jets when people get close. The lower gardens, designed in French formal style, offer marble statues, shaded walking paths, and even an aviary pavilion. The Grand Palace itself is a masterpiece of architecture, with majestic colors, art imported from Asia and the Far East, walls covered in authentic Chinese silk, and a massive ballroom covered in gilded carvings. The palace contains 10 separate museums, which hold art, furniture, and palace items from the 18th century. Number 9. Moscow Kremlin. In the heart of Moscow, by the Moscow River lies an astoundingly fortified complex known as the Kremlin. The center of the political power of Russia, the Moscow Kremlin is one of the most important landmarks of the whole country. It is the official residence of the President of Russia and is of utmost diplomatic significance. It is from this place that the communist dictators, modern-day presidents, and autocratic czars have exercised their rules for the good or bad of the country. Built by the Italian rulers in the 14th century, the entire area is a big triangle enclosed by heavy walls and towers. Among the 18 great towers, Ivan the Great Bell Tower, known locally as Spasskaya Tower, is perhaps the most famous for the giant clock and the ruby star that resides on its top. Perched on Borovitsky Hill, the Kremlin is surrounded by 2.25 kilometers high walls, and one can get the best views of this place from Sofiyskaya Nab. The Cathedral Square, Cathedral of the Dormition, and Tarim Palace are just a few of the other great attractions that lie within. So, the Kremlin is certainly one of the most significant tourist attractions in Russia. Number 8. St. Basils Cathedral. Built between 1554 and 1561 and situated in the heart of Moscow, St. Basil's Cathedral has been among the top tourist attractions in Russia. It is not the building's interior artifacts that attract visitors, but rather the cathedral's distinctive architecture. Founded by one of the most villainous figures in the world, Ivan the Terrible, in 1561, the cathedral is shaped like a rising flame. Designed to resemble the shape of a bonfire in full flame, the architecture is not unique to the period in which it was built, but to any subsequent period. One of the most unique architectures in the world, St. Basil's Cathedral serves as a museum today and attracts millions of tourists. There is no other structure on Earth quite like St. Basil's Cathedral. With some stunning visuals of colors, this truly is the most iconic landmark in Russia and certainly tops this list. Number 7. Kazan. Kazan is the capital of Russia's Republic of Tatarstan, but is also known as Russia's third capital after Moscow and St. Petersburg. Kazan city is situated at the confluence of two rivers in Russia, namely Kazanka and Volga. The longest river of Europe, Volga, which is around 3,700 kilometers in length, also runs through the city and offers a mesmerizing sight to soak in. The city has been influenced by a blend of European and Asian cultures. This flamboyant city offers the perfect amalgamation of the cultures of Russia and Tatar. Its main site is its white stone Kremlin, which stands on a hill and is dominated by the impressive Kol Seraph Mosque. Older mosques can also be found in the city's Staraya Tatarskaya Sloboda. Kazan is also home to a famous UNESCO World Heritage Site, the Kazan Kremlin, and it is one of the famous tourist places in Russia. The government of Tatarstan has invested a great deal in promoting tourism in the region, especially the cities of Bulgar, Chistopol, Svyazk, and Yelabuga, which can all be easily visited from Kazan. Kazan is also one of the best places in Russia for relishing authentic Tatar cuisine. Number 6. St. Petersburg. Although smaller than Moscow, St. Petersburg has so much to offer, it's often impossible to see it all in one day. Compared to Moscow, St. Petersburg feels more European fine art and exquisite design details, mixing in with history around every corner. You can explore it on foot to admire the architecture up close and personal, or hop on a cruise to explore part of the 300 kilometers of canals that cut through the imperial city. For a stunning overdose of white and gold colors, visit Moika Palace and the neoclassical, 19th-century St. Isaac's Cathedral, which is a Russian Orthodox museum. The Hermitage Museum, perhaps St. Petersburg's most famous tourist attraction and the second largest art and culture museum in the world, has a collection of over 3 million items that cover everything from prehistoric art to Catherine the Great's art collection. About 25 kilometers outside of St. Petersburg, and more than worth the day trip, is Peterhof Palace. Built in the early 1700s as a summer residence for Peter the Great, it greatly resembles the Palace of Versailles in France. Number 5. The Golden Ring. The Ring of Cities to the northeast of Moscow, known as the Golden Ring, is probably Russia's most popular tourist route. There are 8 official principal cities of the Golden Ring and a dozen or so other non-official secondary cities located in 5 subjects of the Russian Federation, the Ivanovo, Kostroma, Moscow, Vladimir, and Yaroslavl regions. The main attractions the Golden Ring cities have to offer tourists are their provincial tranquility and the many examples of ancient church architecture. They are also rich in history, having once been important cities in the Vladimir Grand Principality, the central medieval Russian state. It is easy to visit the cities from Moscow, the closest being just over an hour, while the furthest is just a night train away. Transport routes between the cities are also good, meaning that instead of just a day trip from Moscow to a single city, you can visit several over several days. Number 4. Moscow. Since most international flights arrive or at least stop in Moscow, it's worth planning your trip so you at least have a few hours to explore the city. Russia's capital is a magnificent mix of greenery, stunning architecture, and lots of historical reminders of times gone by. Visitors to Moscow usually start exploring in the center, where the Kremlin, Red Square, and the colorful St. Basils Cathedral are located. The shopping mall GUM, with its glass and steel roof, is also a popular destination, even for tourists who can't afford the luxury brands sold here, and a great place to try authentic Russian food. Even if museums are not exactly your thing, Moscow has some amazing options worth visiting, including the State Tretyakov Gallery, the Pushkin Museum, and the Kremlin Armory Museum, for a look into some unique items, such as the ivory throne of Ivan the Terrible and gold-covered imperial carriages. The Bolshoi Theater, one of the largest ballet and opera theaters in the world, is also worth a visit if you can get tickets. Some of the best things in Moscow require some walking to be properly explored, such as the pedestrian-only shopping street Stary Arbit and the boardwalk along the river Moskva. Moscow's metro stations are a work of art in themselves, decorated with porcelain reliefs, crystal chandeliers, and unique mosaic artworks that make these places look like subterranean palaces. Mayakovskaya Metro Station, with its ceiling mosaics and pink rhodonite columns, and Kievskaya Station, filled with white marble, frescoes, and elaborate artworks, are two of the most stunning ones to visit. Number 3. Sochi. Sochi is unique among Russian cities as it enjoys a subtropical climate and has palm tree-lined embankments and beaches on the Black Sea, rather far from the traditional stereotype of snowy Russia. Although it has been a popular destination for decades among Russians, including the political elite, the city has only really become known on the international stage upon holding the 22nd Winter Olympics in 2014. The games were split between two venues in specially built stadiums on the Black Sea coast and up in the mountains of nearby Krasnaya Polyana. This demonstrated the uniqueness of the place in being able to enjoy the snow of the mountains and then the sunshine of the coast in a single day. Even before the Winter Olympics, there were good transport links with Sochi with many Russian cities, as it was a popular destination for sending workers of various state-run companies during the Soviet years. There are many flights to the city's brand new international airports, as well as train links. A flight to Sochi from Moscow will take just over 2 hours, whereas a train will take over a day. Number 2. Kizhi Island. Located in Karelia, a region in northwestern Russia that borders Finland and the White Sea, Kizhi Island is best known for its incredible open-air museum. Karelians have lived in the region since the 13th century, torn between the cultures of the East and the West. The most famous of these buildings are the two outstanding churches and a bell tower known as Kizhi Pogast. The museum's collection features the 120-foot-high Church of Transfiguration of Our Savior, a structure made famous by its 22 domes. Other tourist attractions include dozens of wooden houses, windmills, chapels, and barns. The peasant culture is represented with craft demonstrations and folk ensembles. Thus, the island is one of the most popular tourist attractions in Russia. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. Number 1. Lake Baikal. Located on the border of the Irkutsk region and the Republic of Buryatia, is the real gem of Siberia, the majestically beautiful Lake Baikal, which is the world's deepest lake, believed to contain 1/5 of the world's surface freshwater. It is also the clearest lake in the world, so much so that if swimming in it in summer you can experience vertigo, and in winter when it is frozen you can see many meters down through the ice. The lake and the surrounding areas are home to hundreds of unique species of plants and animals, the most famous of which is the white-eyed Baikal seal known as an Irpa. If you are traveling on the Trans-Siberia you will pass by Baikal, but it is recommended to make a stop in Irkutsk to get a closer look. The easiest place to do this is at Listvyanka, which is just about an hour from Irkutsk. However, an even better option is to travel to the island of Olkan in the center of the lake, but this takes around 6 hours from Irkutsk. From Moscow, it takes almost 6 hours to get to Irkutsk by plane and over 3.5 days by train. Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchZilla and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.